By the 25th of May, Allied forces had broken through the Hitler line in the Urinchi Mountains and in the Liri Valley, while 6th Corps had penetrated German defences around the Anzio bridgehead and connected with America's 2 Corps, advancing from the east. And the next challenge was the Caesar Line, the last German defensive position south of Rome, which stretched from the coast south of Ostia to Valmontone on Highway 6 and across the Apennines to Pescara. The goal was to get to Rome as soon as possible. In the south of the Liri Valley, the French Expeditionary Corps set the pace for 8th Army formations to its right. San Giovanni in Carico fell to the 3rd Algerian Division on the 25th of May and Falvatera on the 26th. By midnight of the 27th, the 2nd Moroccan Division held Castro dei Volsci, and the following day was close to Cacciano. Gumier and Ahmed cleared Amazzano, and on the 28th occupied the whole Amazzano Valley. The 4th Mounted Division pushed up the Amazzano to Carpeneto Road to clear the Lepini Mountains, and the 2nd Moroccan Division moved along the south bank of the Sacco River. On the 30th, the 8th Moroccan Infantry pushed through Cacciano and on to Supino on the 31st. That day, the French were holding a line along high ground overlooking the Liri Valley that extended from Cacciano. French Commander Auguste Juin asked for permission to cross the Liri Valley to take Ferentino on Highway 6. That was about 9 miles ahead of the Canadian Corps, which on that day was south of Frosinone. But Commander-in-Chief Harold Alexander told Clark to keep the road clear for General Lee's formations. Clark's diaries for the day noted, "The British have their eye on Rome, notwithstanding Alexander's constant assurance to me that Rome is in the sector of the 5th Army. The 8th Army has done little fighting. It has lacked aggressiveness and failed in its part in this combined Allied effort." By this time, atrocities perpetrated on the local population had been confirmed. On the 27th of May, French Corps Commander General Juin sent a memorandum to his commanders. "Acts of brigandage have been committed. Armed robbery and rape have roused the people who live in forward areas. Divisional commanders and the commanding general of the Gooms will take forthwith all the necessary steps which are required to put an end to all acts which are detrimental to the morale and dignity of the victor." In the Liri Valley itself, the 8th Army's advance was being led by 13 Corps. In the centre of the valley, the Canadian Corps was ordered to advance rapidly up Highway 6. It reached Frosinone on the 31st of May. That day, the Canadian 5th Armoured Division was put in reserve and replaced by the 6th South African Armoured Division. Meanwhile, 1st Canadian Division was ordered to advance to Valmontone. In the high ground to the north of the Liri Valley, 13 Corps' advance was led by the 8th Indian Division, supported by a New Zealand Armoured Battalion, with Britain's 6th Armoured and 78th Divisions. Ripi was secured on the 30th of May and Torice on the 1st of June. In the Apennines, 5 and 6 Brigade of the 2nd New Zealand Division set off from positions they had held north of Cassino since March. From there, they advanced to Atina and then to Sora, gateway town to the Upper Liri, which was reached on the 31st of May. On the 5th of June, the New Zealanders entered Balsarano. On the 3rd of June, a sergeant of America's 2 Corps lost his way and drove south from Valmontone and met Canada's 1st Brigade advancing to the north. On the same day, units from Princess Louise Regiment drove into Colleferro and met soldiers of the French Expeditionary Corps. In the Anzio bridgehead, the breakout attack begun on the 23rd of May was broadened on the 26th of May. Over the next 4 days, 7 divisions in 6th Corps advanced against the German defences from the coast to the Lepini Mountains. On the 30th of May, the front line was beyond the Campiglione station on the left and on the railway line north of Atina on the right. Nevertheless, by the end of the day, the 5th Army drive on Rome appeared to have stalled. The 1st Armoured Division and the 45th Division had fought bitterly but unsuccessfully along the Albano Road throughout the day. The 34th Division had been stopped below La Neuville on the 29th. The 36th Division, encircling Velletri on the south and east, found the town to be an enemy stronghold. The 3rd Division were below Valmontone and had been on the defensive since the 27th of May. But the Germans had suffered heavy casualties, and Allied forces in the bridgehead were soon to link up with the French Expeditionary Corps advancing north through the Lepini Mountains. Fresh forces were coming up in the form of the 2nd Division, which on the 30th of May was given the extreme right of the beachhead front. On the 26th of May, General Clark had issued Operations Instruction 24, which orders 6th Corps to advance northwest, seize the line between Campo Leone Station and La Neuville, and advance towards Rome. This constituted a major revision in the original plan that had prioritized an advance to the east to cut off Highway 6 and any German forces retreating ahead of 8th Army advancing up the Liri Valley. After the war, 6th Corps Commander General Lucien Truscott said, "Had General Clark held loyally to General Alexander's instructions, had he not changed the direction of my attack to the northwest on the 26th of May, the strategic objective of Anzio would have been accomplished in full. To be first in Rome was poor compensation for this lost opportunity." At that night, 36th Division attacked to cut the road between Nemi and Valmontone. The objective was secured by 2:30 in the morning of the 1st of June, making German positions in the Alban Hills unsustainable. Mark Clark ordered new offensives to destroy the German 14th Army. It began to withdraw on the 2nd of June, and 30th Infantry found Valmontone occupied early that morning. 751 Tank Battalion seized the upper end of the Liri-Sacco Valley. American infantry with Task Force Housing proceeded alone during the night to Palestrina. In the afternoon of the 2nd of June, American forces breaking out of the Anzio bridgehead linked up with the French Expeditionary Corps east of Colleferro. The 85th and 88th Divisions of 2 Corps moved up to strike for Rome. The divisions pursuing Germany's 10th Army after the Hitler Line breakthrough encountered stubborn German rearguard units. The main obstacles were often narrow roads unable to support the weight of tanks, bridges destroyed by the Germans, and traffic jams on all roads heading north caused by thousands of Allied vehicles. At 8 o'clock in the evening of the 2nd of June, 2 Corps issued new orders to govern its advance on Rome. They created a corridor divided into 3 divisional zones. The 85th Division was to the south, the 88th Division astride Highway 6, and the 3rd Division to the north. The right flank of 2 Corps was guarded by the 1st Special Service Force at Colleferro. The main attack towards Rome was to be delivered by the 85th and 88th Divisions. Task Force Hauser was strengthened and received orders to act as a spearhead up Highway 6. The Corps' orders stipulated that units were not to halt until they reached the north-south road passing through Tor Sapienza, the last phase line short of Rome. At 8 o'clock on the morning of the 4th of June, elements of the 88th Reconnaissance Troop were the first Allied troops to enter Italy's capital. Only along Highway 6 was there any meaningful resistance, and infantry and self-propelled guns held positions west of Centogelle until the middle of the afternoon. By evening, the delaying action died away everywhere east of Rome. Within the city itself, American soldiers met only an occasional sniper or self-propelled gun retreating towards the Tiber bridges. By midnight, the 5th Army held the Tiber from its mouth to the junction with the Aniene River. North and south of Rome, bridges had been blown, but in the city proper, all crossings of the river were intact. On the morning of the 5th of June, Clark entered Rome to meet his corps commanders. He lost his way and was directed by Monsignor Hugo Flati, who had spent 7 months helping hide escaped prisoners of war, refugees and Jews. At 10:30, he climbed the steps into the town hall on the Capitoline Hill to meet his commanders. That evening, Pope Pius appeared on the balcony of St. Peter's to address crowds that had gathered in the square. In recent days, we tremble for the fate of the city, he said. Today we rejoice because, thanks to the joint goodwill on both sides, Rome has been saved from the horrors of war. The cost of capturing Rome had been enormous for the Allies. Since the 1st of April, the 5th and 8th armies had suffered more than 35,000 casualties, including almost 6,000 killed. It was to be almost another year before the war in Italy was to end.